Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Kate,
I'm Kate,
and I'm her mom.
and in this episode, we are going to talk about how to transition between being a mother and daughter to being actually friends.
Every mom out there knows how hard it is after 18 years to feel like you've been fired from your manager role. So this is a good episode for both moms and kids. But first, let's talk about our cocktail.
All right, what are we drinking?
We are drinking espresso martinis.
My favorite.
Yes. And so in this, we have coffee liqueur, we have vodka, we have simple syrup, and we have espresso.
Yum.
2 generations.
One show.
Grab your cocktails. Here we go. Yeah, that's good.
Wow.
All right, so get us started. Tell us what you think the most important part of transitioning into that friend relationship is.
In one word, I would say respect. To make sure that you are respecting the other person at all times. Moms are respecting their daughters and their new role in their life, and daughters are also respecting moms and the role that they've always held. So it's changing, but you always still respect each other.
Yeah. How do you think, as a child, from a child's perspective, I shouldn't say child because you're a grown adult, but you know what I mean, from the child's perspective,
right?
How does a parent show that they're respecting you? Is it setting boundaries?
I think that I feel most respected when you don't just assume that I'm on board, because it's like growing up, it was like what you said was it. Like, you're the mom, we're doing what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And as an adult, you have your own opinion. Your own opinion needs to be respected. I need to have a say in what I do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I also need to understand and be empathetic and compassionate to the fact that you are still my mom. You still love me as much as you've always loved me. You still want to be with me. You still want to hold on and just hang out.
Yeah, I think that's what probably every mom wants their child to understand, that even though you're an adult, even though that your child has moved out, they're on their own, that you are still the mom, and you have been the manager, or they have been the manager for 18 years. And it's a really hard transition to go from, I've been leading and guiding this person and helping them make all these decisions, to now I've got to step back and I've got to let them show that I've taught them what I think I've taught them. And it's hard. Even though I know that I did give you all those tools, it's still hard because you always want what's best. It doesn't matter how many birthdays you have, you're always going to be my little girl. And so it's a hard transition. But I think that you're right. I think that Caitlin hit the nail on the head when she said respect is first and foremost. You can't build a solid foundation or any kind of relationship without respect. So that's first and foremost. Setting boundaries, I think, is a big part of that respect. You set a boundary with, not that we don't live super close, but I want to see you. I want to see my grandchildren. So once a week, I come over to your house. You have plans on Saturday. You have plans on Sundays.
Yep.
The plans for me are Saturday.
Correct.
So we sat down and we figured out, how can we make this work where Caitlin still has her life and her things, but I still get to see her and the grandkids.
And of course, there's things that come up. Like, there's a Saturday that, my kids have a birthday party to attend, and I have to tell my mom, this doesn't work, but let's find a different time that we can still get together. Like, that happened this week, and then we met for dinner instead one night. And, but yeah, I think that working with each other and kind of working through those changes and things that come up, but still prioritizing the time that y'all have together.
Yep.
Often.
And doing things that don't involve a child parental role. So we go shopping.
Yes.
We go to movies together. We do different things where I'm not your mom.
Right.
It is more of a friend. We sit down and we have a drink together.
Yeah.
As your mom, I would never do that. I spent 18 years telling you I was not your friend.
Right.
And so it is, and that is no joke. And she will tell you. And I have said many times. I'm not your friend. I'm your mom. That's right. And as she was growing up, I always said, when she would say, "I hate you," my response, either internally or maybe I even said it out loud a time or two, was, good, that means I'm doing my job. But now I have a different job. So,
and I think that it changes. And again, the setting boundaries will change. Your boundaries that you set will change with each other. When you move out for college, it's a little bit less of a boundary maybe than when you have your own kids.
yeah.
And, as a mom of two myself, as a wife, I have a completely different role than I had as just a college student or just a high school student. And I've proven now at this point that I have taken the lessons that I learned in my first 18 years to heart, and I've been able to be mature, be responsible, be respectful, be an adult. And now you trust that more, that I'm capable of those things and that I'm able to do those things.
Yeah.
So it's easier maybe for you to just trust that I'm going to figure it out, and you don't have to be there to fix it. And so you set different boundaries as you go. You set boundaries when you move out for college. You set boundaries when you get married. You set boundaries when you have your own kids. Then you set different boundaries when you have a second or more children.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, that as you get older and you experience different life goals and life stages, that the goalpost doesn't necessarily change. The end goal is always the same, but how you get there looks a little different.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, so I think that's a very good point. You said that I trust that you've taken the lessons that I've taught you and that you know how to make the right decisions. And
right.
Let me be clear to all the parents watching. I may have trust in that, but that does not mean I don't lose sleep at night still. So you can still have those feelings. You're still a parent. It's normal to still worry about them and lose sleep over them. But you have to respect them, and you do have to trust that you've given them the lessons, that they can make their own decisions, make good decisions, and that they'll still reach out to you if they need you, because now you've built that relationship where they feel more comfortable doing that. Where, although I do hope that as a child you always felt like if you were in any kind of questionable situation, I would have been your first call. But certainly as you transition into that more adult relationship, it's probably easier for them to be your first call, because you're not going to be answering the phone scolding them for whatever situation they've gotten in. You're going to be asking, do you need help with this? How can I help you with this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's a big thing, is to not necessarily need to immediately turn it into a teaching moment or immediately lecture or immediately fix it, honestly. Just you're able to take the role of, do you just need someone to talk to about that? Tell me how you're feeling about that. And you're valid. Your feelings are valid. It's okay. You're not having to worry about instilling knowledge or instilling a life lesson in every single moment that we talk about. And I think that that's a big one. I also think that as an 18-year-old, when I first moved out for college, I was really eager to prove that I could do life, that I was good. I know what I'm doing. I make good grades. I pay attention in school. I have good study habits. I have good life habits. And now as a mom, I understand that it wasn't necessarily that she didn't think I could do those things myself, but that she just still wanted to feel needed by me, because it was instant. It was okay, you're out of my house in one day. You're off on your own in one day, and I can't rewrite my mind to get back, to get into a completely different mindset about you. And I think as a mom, I'm okay, now I get it. With my daughter, I'm always going to be in her life. I'm always going to want, to hold on to her. And I always will. And my son too. But yeah, I think that as a parent, you definitely understand a lot more of where your parents were coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've been able to say that. And I think that's a key part of transitioning into that relationship as well, that you can say that you don't expect me to just change everything and we're meeting each other in the middle. That is integral. You can't transition into a healthy adult relationship where you remain friends if you can't meet each other in the middle and be able to say, I get it. I totally, look, now I get when all those times when you said this, I get it. That's part of what builds that friendship.
Yep.
So turns out, moms, that you really weren't being fired from your manager position. You were being promoted. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that it's just, if we're turning this into a life lesson video, I think that it's very important to just remember, like you said, to meet each other in the middle, to meet each other where you're at, and to not force the other person's opinion, because that's going to put up walls. Even if you're anything like us, it's going to put up walls even more for both of us. I think that's like something that we both, if you're told to do something a certain way, you're like, immediately your instinct is to say, I'm going to figure this out myself. I don't need to listen to that. And that's something that I've inherited, maybe learned, I don't know. But I feel like if I'm told I cannot do something, I'm going to prove to you that I can in fact do it.
Yeah, you probably did get that from me.
So I think it's important to just keep that in mind, that you don't need to tell each other, you cannot do this. Stop. Like, you need to be able to have a conversation with each other and to say, this is what I really need from you right now.
Yep.
How do you think that you can do that? What do you need from me to make you feel more comfortable? And to just continue to give to each other.
Yep. And I think you just summarized the different relationships perfectly in that statement, where when you're a parent-child, you are telling the child, you can't do this, you can't do this. But when you're transitioning into that relationship, you can't do that.
Right.
It won't work. So
Yep.
What do you guys think? What are you struggling with transitioning into your own adult-child relationships? What do you think we've left out? What could we do better? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, let us be your therapist here. We'll help you. We'll help you through this transition. It's a rough one.
Yeah.
And we could have probably used some therapists ourselves.
We figured it out. Now we can pass our knowledge on to you. So tell us what you think. What are you struggling with? What are your thoughts on this topic? Thanks for watching.
And go call your mom
Or your daughter.
and start your own conversation.
Bye.
Bye till next time.